Nerd sandwich, comics, movies, nerd things, sandwiches. Woo, 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 woo. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of
Nerd Sandwich.
We are your hosts.
I'm the Amazing John.
And I'm the Amazing Juan. Thank you for joining us today, folks. Today's first ever Toy Lover Crew shout out goes out to Wondercomics in Yucaipa, California. They've got comics, t-shirts, hats, collectible figures, and much, much more. Again, that is Wondercomics in Yucaipa, California. Make sure you guys stop by for some exciting merch, comics, and toys.
I'd love to go to California.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right? That'd be great.
Like, seriously, I've never been.
There's a lot of exciting things to do in Chicago here too, Johnny boy.
But like, they got those toys.
But they got Wondercomics.
Yeah, they got Wondercomics.
And we don't have Wondercomics here.
So if you happen to be in California, go to Wondercomics.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know what the Toy Lover Crew is, I suggest you go onto Instagram as well and follow our amazing group of action figure photographers. Yes, that is a thing, ladies and gentlemen. There are adult collectors and adult customizers who take action figures of 6-inch scale, not just 6-inch scale, but any scale action figure, and they bring them to life via toy photography. So that's an exciting thing. Again, that is the Toy Lover Crew. And once again, make sure you guys pick up your fun merch at Wondercomics. So today, Johnny boy, what do we got to?
We got some really cool stuff today.
Yeah. I heard you're becoming a man today. I think today's episode is going to be titled John's First Hunt.
That you tell everyone that I'm becoming a man today.
Yeah.
If anything, tell them I've become the amazing Spider-Man.
The amazing man.
That'd be cool.
Just the amazing man.
The amazing man.
The amazing average
What's up,
man.
amazing man? So I was able to read The Amazing Spider-Man, Kraven's Last Hunt by J.M. DeMatteis.
I believe so. Yeah.
And Mike Zeck.
There you go.
And I also read, just to throw a curveball in there, I had Jeff Johns and Andy Kubert's and Sandra Hope's Flashpoint.
Ooh.
So both of these were phenomenal to me.
These were some of your first major pickups. Is that what that was?
Yes,
Your first major reads. Now you've never really delved into comic books before, have you?
I had that one Spider-Man comic that I kept in my fridge, if you remember correctly.
From last episode, right? Yeah, make sure you guys listen to episode 5 of Nerd Sandwich, because John thought when you keep comics in the plastic, you have to put them in the fridge to keep them super fresh.
So I thought that was the point. Anyways, so we have those two, and we're gonna get started with those.
Cool, man. Which one do you want to kick off with first?
I'd say we start out with The Amazing Spider-Man.
Awesome.
Kraven's Last Hunt. Kraven, absolutely just very dark from the start.
Sure, man.
Literally dark. His costume is dark.
It's a black costume.
It's a black costume. Like it's literally the Dark Spider-Man.
So okay, so I guess you're always a question master. I guess I can ask you the fun questions today. So I guess from the stuff that you know about Spider-Man, what were you expecting out of the story? Like when I gave you this book to read, like what was your expectation?
From the cover, I was like, man, he's dirty. Because he's laying in a grave. Mm-hmm. So here lies Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he was wearing his black costume. So I was like, well, something different.
Yeah.
But when I think Spider-Man, I think of a wisecracking Spider-Man, making jokes, having a good time. He's never had a really negative moment. Mm-hmm. And when he does, it's short-lived. He's usually pretty positive. So yeah. I just imagined him fighting Kraven for the last time. Mm-hmm. But I was like, what does that mean? Is Kraven just going to be, I don't know, is he going to realize the error of his ways? Is he going to, I don't know.
Sure.
Something. So. Yeah,
no, that's great. And so I guess when you started reading the comic, what were some of your, did it meet your expectations? Did it defy your expectations? What did you think of it overall?
It was definitely different than what I thought was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Well, Kraven, I've never thought much of Kraven personally. Mm-hmm. He's just a guy, but in the back cover it shows him really sinister looking.
Yeah, he's got that rifle too.
Yeah, with his rifle and his loincloth thing and his chest hair. And
he's like a twisted Tarzan.
Yeah,
what it looks like.
Actually,
really dark, twisted,
very just scary looking, well groomed ish. Mm-hmm. But from the start, it starts out with him just being really scary, scarier than I've ever known him to be.
Yeah,
especially based off the cartoon. He's drinking. He's naked. At some point,
naked people are fucking terrifying.
They can be terrifying. They can. but he's like eating spiders, and he's just like obsessing himself over Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And Spider-Man, I think he's actually pretty jolly at the beginning. I think he says like he's like just doing his thing, web swinging. He's like he just got married to Mary Jane. He's like I just miss her. I just want to hang out with her. Why do I come out here? You know what? But I do good. You know, I do good things. And then Kraven's just eating spiders,
Yeah.
chewing on them, and I'm like, ugh, that looks good.
Spider sandwich.
Spider sandwich.
Spider sandwich.
But I just couldn't get past the fact that like the chewing of spiders, like I could see the crunches. That freaked me out.
Wasn't it? And like the art by Mike Zeck is just phenomenal in this book.
Yeah, very, like almost fuzzy in some points. Like like it's like almost like a dream sequence.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was. Honestly,
Yeah.
it seemed very dreamlike. It's like, why is Kraven like so weird right now? Like this huge sinister smile.
Yeah. Well, and look at that. Like, and I love the way that panel looks like. Like it's thundering outside, and in this specific panel, he's sad. He just buried Spider-Man, and he's sad. The lightning strikes, and he's got this sinister grin. And then the lightning strike is gone, and he goes back to mourning that he's just buried the Spider-Man. Yeah. And like that just shows you like the twisted side that he is. Like deep inside, he's broken that Spider-Man has managed to best him each and every time. But the lightning is symbolic of like he could snap like that.
Yeah.
Like into a twisted version that is just murderous and wants to avenge like his honor that he's lost fighting Spider-Man all those years.
Yeah, and that's how he's coping.
Yeah, man.
You know, and it's funny because I talk, you know, at my work, at my job that I love and everything, I talk about resilience. Kraven doesn't have very much resilience. You know, he's a man that succeeded at everything he's done, right? He's captured and hunted every animal in the world.
And he's bested every single one
Every one of them except Spider-Man. The one time he fails, like, so his failure to success rate, you know, he's got a lot of...
He's got a pretty good kill-death ratio, you know?
He has...
He plays Call of Duty a lot.
Yeah, he gets a lot of airstrikes and he teabags a lot of people, I'm sure. But like the one time he loses, and sure it's multiple times. Yeah, you can say let's say he's gone against Spider-Man like 20 times and he's lost every time. How many animals are in the world in the world that he's defeated, like overcome, like animals, like bears, like things that should not be capable. A man, like no human being should be capable of besting, and he did. I just feel like that's pretty telling. Like you have to like practice failure.
Oh yeah,
you know,
and he hasn't practiced very much.
Oh no, he's had it because he hasn't. But I think that's pretty neat. I was kind of freaked out about his whole obsession with Spider-Man. Like he transformed his way of thinking about Spider-Man as more of a concept. Like it wasn't like
he was more than a man.
Yeah, he wasn't just Peter Parker. He was this almost like a god-ish.
Yeah,
like something that's not real.
Yeah, you and I had this discussion not too long ago too. Like Kraven tends to think that the spider is a life force, like a living thing, like which the spider is, but the spirit of the spider. He thought that underneath Spider-Man was more than a man. Like he had to have been a spider, like an actual spider of some sort. And he thought he acquired that by, you know, eating spiders and
like
living like spiders and, you know, weaving his own web and crawling and stuff, to the point where he dons the spider costume in hopes of becoming more spider-like. And he thought it was a physically attainable concept, like a thing that he could very well grab with his own two hands, eat it, and become it. And that was much more like Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, he didn't realize that, like, he can't become Peter Parker because to become Spider-Man doesn't necessarily mean to become Peter Parker. And neither does being, you know, becoming Peter Parker. Like, you know, it's like, it's something entirely different.
It was just something that the universe aligned in the favor of Peter Parker, and he became the Spider-Man. And Kraven, no matter how much Kraven tries, he can never avenge his honor, and he can never become the Spider-Man.
In a way, it's like the curse of being I don't want to say like a villain necessarily, but like the curse of not being a protagonist. Like he realizes that he can't be like like the like the writers shined on Spider-Man and said he's gonna become Spider-Man. Peter Parker, the character I create right now, is gonna become Peter Parker. And Kraven's character wasn't chosen for that. Like he wasn't meant to be anything more than just a villain. And I don't want to say he doesn't. I mean, he's not. It's not gonna. It doesn't break the fourth wall.
Well, it's almost more so like the curse of just the common man.
Yeah.
Like Kraven just realizes like he's nothing special.
Yeah.
He's just a man.
He's just a really cool man. Like
A really strong,
yeah, cool,
Tarzan-esque
amazing.
man.
Yeah, like he has everything he would like. For us, like, mere mortals and regular people, he has everything that we would ever want.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool though. Like I was like, what? Like Kraven is more. He's more than anything we could ever be, but he's still not happy with that. I wanted to ask you too about later comics. Is there anything with his black costume?
Yeah. I think this is one of the main comics where we start to find like a significance in the black costume, and something that I've noticed as well. I mean, and that writers have taken upon themselves is that the black costume starts to signify dark times in Peter's life, times where he has to really come back from like almost put on a darker persona, henceforth, like the black costume. You don't see him in his traditional red and blue. Like when you think of red and blue, you think of like, your wisecracking Spider-Man.
Yeah, I feel like that would have changed the comic entirely. Like if this cover was him in red and blue, it would have been, I don't know, it would have felt different.
Yeah. No, the black costume comes to signify much darker approaches to Spider-Man, and especially stuff later like Back in Black or Kraven's, First Hunt. Grim Hunt. Grim Hunt's a storyline in which he dons the black costume as well. And those are all just, symbols. Like the black costume signifies just Spider-Man, no holds barred. He's going to mess you up.
So that's his mentality shifting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
See, I didn't really know that. I know in the TV animated series, it was like, he put on the black costume because it was sleek and,
I mean, and that's the way it is in Secret
alien.
Wars. Like when he gets it in Secret Wars, he doesn't know it's an alien costume, but he likes it.
Yeah.
And then it's not until he takes it off, and then the thing becomes Venom.
I think about this a lot. I mean, this is going in a little bit of different direction, but like, when you think of comedians, or I would consider Spider-Man like the comedian of comic book heroes. He's funny. He's, I don't know, likable. And I don't know if you've ever seen, like, comedians tend to like have very dark sides to them. Like they laugh at their pain because that's how they cope. And I feel like Spider-Man does that.
Oh, very much so.
Psychologically, like he's lost Uncle Ben. He's lost, what's her face?
Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stacy. And I'm sure other people too. The general failure in life. Like he wasn't very, like without Spider-Man, he's nothing. He's had that issue. He has a lot of things going on psychologically. It almost makes me feel like that's literally a physical manifestation of that darkness that every comedian holds. Like just becoming physical. I think that's crazy.
I never really thought of that way either.
Yeah, because I mean, he can't like I think of like comedians like not Gene Wilder. I can't think of the comedian. Owen Wilson. Long time ago tried to commit suicide, and he's a very funny comedian. Funny actor, and it's like, but there's that dark side of people. I think of Kevin Hart, Laugh at My Pain. Like, there's a lot of things that there's something going on in their head that's much darker than that they physically represent.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what Spider-Man's doing with the black costume. So
yeah, no, I mean, and I recently read Grim Hunt, and Grim Hunt is like very reminiscent of this kind of comic. So I mean, I think if you wanted to read more of like the Kraven saga and stuff, that would be your next step to go to. It's really cool. I really like the black costume stuff. Grim Hunt and Back in Black are both awesome. So I mean, this could be a jumping off point for you. Like you don't necessarily have to read stuff in the continuity, but you can read stuff in thematical.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
Thematical
just to know where he goes psychologically. Like he's like, I'm not gonna be this happy person anymore. I'm darker. I think that's cool because I kind of like Batman. When Batman turned much more dark, the pows to to like a dark murder and like a lot of other things.
Yeah. Cool. So that was Kraven's Last Hunt.
Yeah, that's great. I loved it overall.
Dark ending too, right?
Dark, very dark.
Yeah.
I won't say too much, but I kind of expected it just because of the title, I guess. But like what leads up to it is just, it's like, what? Like that happened. Like,
Yeah, no, the writing was excellent.
yeah,
It was great. It was great. And what do we got next on the list, Johnny boy?
we have Flashpoint by Jeff Johns, Andy Kubert, and Sandra Hope.
Oh man, dude, Flashpoint is such a good one. You know, I've actually never read Flashpoint, but I feel like I've read so much about it that I kind of know what happens in there.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it all happens in a flash.
Man, shut up. God, this is so dumb. You know, it's a sandwich, you know, that you just can eat in a flash. So before we get into it, this was actually your first comic book choice, right? Like this was your first
This is the one
independent
I wanted.
comic book selection. My Johnny boy's growing up so fast.
I know, I'm a big Johnny man now.
There you go. Johnnyman.
Johnnyman, yeah. So I purchased this one on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it on Amazon. I ordered it and everything, put in the shipping address. It was great. I got it. I got
it shipped
here.
to my house and everything.
I got it and I was so happy that it got here. I read it immediately, and I don't know a whole lot about the Flash or DC as a whole. Like I'm exploring that more, and I want to.
You picked a hell of a place to start because this essentially is the ending of a DC like continuity.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you, well, for our listeners out there who may not be so comic centric, there is a continuity in DC Comics, and then the culmination of that was Flashpoint, which essentially led DC to do a soft reboot of its universe. And then they created 52 new comic book titles and started the new timeline called the New 52. And that's where kind of like a lot of readers in 2011 could jump on to start reading comic books. So it's kind of like, for those Marvel folks out there, it was kind of like a Secret Wars 2015 essentially, or like an Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths, like DC did it first. But so it was a really great jumping on point. So you picked a hell of a place to start because essentially after this you could start reading all new. New 52 stuff.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yeah, it's
What'd you
exciting.
think? What'd you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was great. Just from the start, wild. You know, and just to give a quick like an overview of what happened. Flash wakes up, different universe. Like, whoa, what's happening?
That'd be kind of crazy.
Like you're confused with him. Like I don't know what's happening at all. Flashpoint doesn't necessarily the word Flashpoint, at least from what I understand, doesn't come up in the story. So it's not like, oh, he said the title of the book. Like I don't know what Flashpoint. I guess I could assume what it means, but yeah. But he's in this new world. He doesn't have his powers. A lot of the Justice League isn't present or doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So that's that. Like
Everyone's kind of like a dark version of themselves. Yeah. Isn't it?
Everybody, for the most part, everybody has like a very darker story now. They're not in favor of justice necessarily. They just kind of exist and do their own thing. Yeah. Then more or less, Flash tries to like get them all back together. The ones that exist at least.
Yeah, and aren't like in this one, there's like a post-apocalyptic thing, right? Isn't like Aquaman and Wonder Woman?
Yep, they like fighting Aquaman and Wonder Woman are they're upset. They're having some relationship problems in a way.
Essentially, mainly because Wonder Woman killed Aquaman's wife.
Yeah, Aqua wife.
And they're like warring factions.
Yeah. So there's a whole war going on, and the world is afraid. Like everyone's scared. They're like, this isn't gonna be the end of the world. Like Aquaman's raising the tides everywhere. Yeah. Wonder Woman's like using all their invisible jets to like
there's a bunch of floating people.
Yeah, just
like floating people sitting down.
They're just doing a bunch of stuff. Like what is happening? Yeah. Superman doesn't exist at all. Like no one knows.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah. I watched the animated film, so I kind of have an understanding, and then I read like a bunch of.
So no one knows what Superman means or anything like that. Doesn't happen.
Clark Kent never happened. Interesting.
Exactly. And Bruce Wayne.
Oh, yeah, that was going to be my next point.
Bruce Wayne doesn't exist anymore. So he was in this world, and instead of his father and mother dying, he and his mother die, and Thomas Wayne lives.
Oh, man. And I didn't know Martha Wayne died. I thought she became like a Joker or something.
I'd have to read into it a little bit more, but like, at the beginning, Batman or Thomas Wayne was looking for Joker. They don't say why. He had his own reasons. And then that's when Cyborg shows up and says, I need to recruit you to save the world.
Oh, okay. So they don't dive into him.
So then they never pursue, like, it doesn't pursue where he went with that or what he was trying to do. But man, it was just intense because this new Batman is very aggressive.
Yeah, and to kind of branch into that, then like that could be a good kickoff point for us. A good flashpoint, you say. It's kind of cool. Like I know the stuff I read about Thomas Wayne. It's kind of neat to see because it's almost like what Batman would have been if he would have given into his vengeance.
Yeah.
A much more a darker version of the Dark Knight, so to speak.
Yeah, and if you think about that, like the world, like we have all those choices in life where we can choose that darker path or the easier path. And I'm sure I'm sure Thomas Wayne has a much easier time. He doesn't look as stressed as Batman. He doesn't have to deal with villains. Like,
I guess.
Like, I mean, I don't
lost his kid, so I mean, I don't know, man. I
mean, Batman,
like that
Bruce
point of
Wayne,
stress is just kind of gone.
Exactly, but I mean, I think that when you have that vengeance and that seething anger in your life, he no longer has to care. Like he has a choice of not caring anymore. Like when he was gonna kill some villain, I don't know her name, a yo-yo person that worked for the Joker, and I think he was going to kill the Joker if he would have found him, and it would have been the end of it. You know, that would have been it. Like no,
something that Batman could never do.
Yeah, like he would have ended the Joker's reign. Unlike Batman, who is still fighting him. He's fighting half of his villains over and over. You know? Something that Thomas Wayne doesn't have to do.
Yeah, and that's kind of like Thomas Wayne is what Batman would have become if he would have killed the Joker. Because Batman always struggles with, killing
anyone. Yeah.
Especially the Joker. Because like he knows if he kills the Joker, he wouldn't stop. He essentially needs the Joker to keep him in check. Yeah. And then he kind of knows that if he was to kill him, he would that's who he would become.
In a way, the Joker's like he's like, I would say of all the Batman's villains, Joker's probably the most sinister.
It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah. And like if he were to do that, to kill anyone else would be easier.
Yeah.
It'd just be too easy because he's Joker's pure evil for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And so it's really cool to kind of see Thomas Wayne in that role. So
yeah.
I also like kind of like, I think you touched on it earlier that like the heroes aren't who they are because their pivotal moments never happen.
Yeah. Their lives that weren't changed in that flash of a moment of their, that didn't happen. Yeah. So how Jordan didn't get his ring from, Sir Albin Sur.
Yeah, that's the guy that gave him. Yeah.
Albin Sur. Yeah, he didn't get that from him. So Albin Sur's still alive. So his tragedy never happened. I'm not too familiar with Cyborg's story, but he's still alive. But he's working for the government now. So he's like a FedEx or something. And he does something. No,
he's a mailman. He's a man. No, he's like a spec ops agent or something.
He's basically like their top covert ops person.
Okay.
Then who else?
Superman never crashed in Kansas.
Yeah, he crashed in Metropolis.
And was found by what is it, Martha and
Uncle Ben. I don't know his name.
Oh man, I forgot Martha and Kent. He was never found by the Kents.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
this is bothering me now.
Yeah. So he was never found by them. He landed in Metropolis. The government found him. He was essentially isolated from society. Like he never interacted with one person.
Of course, it's John Kent.
John
Kent. How generic.
I saw Jor-El. What's his name? Jor-El Kent.
Jor-El Kent.
But no. So Superman is isolated from the beginning of his life.
Yeah.
So they find him.
They keep him like underground.
Yeah, underground. He's never
tiny
seen the sun.
And brittle, and because that's where he gets all his energy from solar energy.
I wonder if he even knows how to speak. That's how I don't think he does. But you also see Superdog and Bones.
Crypto?
Like whatever his name is. He's like you see his bones.
Oh God,
he's dead.
Oh geez,
isn't that sad?
Yeah, holy shit.
Like his dog, because I didn't realize that they sent his dog with him, but they showed the dog with the S on it, and it's like it was just Bones.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's tragic.
So Flash has to see all of this and try to make sense of this world before his memories are no longer present.
Yeah, because his old memories are getting wiped out, right?
Which makes sense because let's say you went back in time and changed your world, you wouldn't need to know that. You wouldn't be able to know that. Like you shouldn't be allowed to know the possibilities and how they came out.
Well, that would kind of create a paradox.
Yeah, and I think you would drive yourself crazy.
Yeah,
personally, because if I knew the decision of like I don't know, going to a different school or going to like hang out with other people. You'd see the outcome and be like, I wish I would have stuck with the other one. Because that one was better. I almost feel like that's like the gift that time is giving Flash, because he doesn't need to remember, the life was better then. Other than just living in that universe and being okay with it. Like accepting it.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of twisted. Yeah. It's kind of like a twisted version of Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Like kind of where he's, what's his name? Marty starts getting his hand erased.
Yeah.
Because like all the events start to, like he changed the course of events. And so he starts to no longer exist in the future. So it's kind of like Flash no longer starts to exist in his timeline.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like he's turning invisible, but instead of turning invisible, his memories are becoming the memories of that current timeline.
Yeah, because he still
it's
existed.
so twisted.
Like
It's so weird.
He continued to exist.
Yeah.
The Flash as a concept didn't, but it didn't prevent the Flash from being brought into that world. So he can recreate the accident and it brought it to the world. So like Flash exists. Like he can do it.
Yeah.
But if he would have forgotten, he wouldn't have been able to. Like he would have just been stuck as Barry Allen.
That's very interesting. Like the whole concept of forgetting and remembering, because that was a huge pivotal point, like a plot point in DC Rebirth #1.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like another reboot, because the world is full of reboots now. It's like the next second idea for everyone. Notice I said it's the second idea because the first idea was the original plot.
It was a rebirth.
Yeah, there you go. So reboots left and right. But anyways, they kind of touch on that. So I think if you chose to read all New 52 stuff, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to jump directly into Rebirth stuff now, like I've got some of that stuff, so I could definitely lend it to you. The Button's super good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those who've read
that one out.
It digs into the whole concept of Thomas and Bruce Wayne coming into contact with one another, and Barry Allen's the center of it.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And it ties into stuff from the Watchmen. So it's really, really cool. Yeah, man. It's really sweet.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
I'll check that out. But yeah, it's just, I think it's cool how Thomas Wayne was not like just a carbon copy of Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Wayne, obviously.
It was basically
younger.
like a what if.
Yeah.
Kind of like of a Bruce Wayne.
He was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And him growing up, he was more capable of learning technology.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Wayne had one computer.
With dial-up.
Dial-up. Yeah.
AOL.
And AOL. He had,
You've got mail.
Flash was like, "Can I use your computer?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Why is it so slow? And why is it like?
Why is this DSL line so?"
Yeah. And I thought that was funny because he wasn't the same thing. Alfred wasn't there. I'm guessing he fired him or just told him to leave out of anger.
Or maybe he never was brought in the first. Well, he didn't have to come in.
Yeah.
Because Alfred was brought in to take care of Bruce.
Oh, he wasn't just part of the Wayne estate? Like Wayne.
Well,
Wayne.
honestly, I'm reading All-Star Batman right now by Scott Snyder. And one of the points is in that was when Alfred was a kid, he never had a good relationship with his dad because his dad was working for the Waynes. And then when he no longer was working with them, when Bruce died, they had to bring in Alfred to start taking care of Bruce. So that was the thing. It's kind of weird. I don't know how the continuity holds up. I don't know if it's the same thing. I don't know if it's concrete, but that's how I interpret it as.
Yeah.
So maybe Alfred was never, he never had to be summoned.
Yeah, he wasn't needed because
yeah, because Thomas Wayne doesn't need someone to take care of him.
Yeah, he's a grown man.
Yeah, he's a grown ass man.
So yeah, but I just think it's interesting how that parallel creates itself.
Alternate timeline stories are sweet.
Hal Jordan,
they're fun.
Superman, Deathstroke, and then we got to see all these other characters living their lives. Like they made do. Like Deathstroke was a pirate. Kind of fitting, I guess.
Yeah, and what was he like? Grifter is what?
Grifter, yeah.
From Wildcats, I think.
Yeah, Grifter was there. A bunch of other characters just like showing up. Like those roles aren't meant to be empty.
Mm-hmm.
Like superhuman people are going to happen.
Yeah.
Evolution happens. People happen. And I think that's pretty cool. Crisis happens.
Crisis. It's kind of ironic that you said crisis with DC.
Yeah.
That's like their whole thing. It's kind of like modern Marvels happen. But with Marvel. So no, that's cool, man. I'm really glad you enjoyed Flashpoint. Yeah. It's pretty sweet. It's good to see my baby boys growing up.
I'd say it's my favorite so far, though.
It's also your first.
It's all my first. I also have World War Hulk to read, but
World War Hulk is so good.
Oh yeah, I'm pumped for that. But just to stay with Flashpoint, because I feel like it's definitely deserves the attention.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many characters in here that just blow my mind away. Like the ending with just like Thomas Wayne wanted to see Bruce Wayne. He's like, "Can you take me to him?" And that changed his life. Just the thought. The idea of seeing his son, he didn't have to believe Flash. He had no reason to believe Flash, really.
Flash gave him hope.
Yeah, Flash totally gave him like some glimmer of hope. Like, hey, I know your son. He's like, what? Like, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Let me turn on my computer real quick.
Let me dial in.
Yeah. Like, you know my son from a different universe. I'm going to help you at all costs. I'm going to do anything you need to do. They save Superman per Flash's request. They try to fight in the war and get the other superhumans together because of Flash's request. And it's like, Flash was their hope. And it's funny because he was their hope because he remembered, but that's what he was losing. Like, he was losing his memory. Without that, he would have been useless.
Yeah.
Like,
no, man, that's awesome. This sounds like gets you right in the feels.
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's like, what would have been his motivation? Like,
all these heroes. Essentially, this is a story of heroes who never had the motivation, or they weren't in the right, for lack of a better word, time or place.
yeah.
They were at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah. So like their reasons just weren't lining up for any type of like justice or like positive image.
Yeah.
Like it was all meant for them to be like self-absorbed maybe. And just like lost in a way. Yeah, but it was nuts. Just Batman's red eyes were cool though.
that's the only cool thing. Batman's red eyes were sweet.
Yeah.
No, it's cool, man. So I guess where do you go from here now?
Well, I did. I'm gonna read World War Hulk. I also read Dark Souls, the comic.
Oh yeah.
Which was,
how was that? Real quick, how was that?
it was just quickly, like it was not everything I wanted. It was cool. It was a beautiful.
And you're a big Dark Souls fan,
Oh,
right?
I love Dark Souls. Played the first game, the second game, the third game, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, Kingsfield, I have the Bloodborne board game or card game technically, and a Dark Souls board game, which was $80 for one game. I still don't know how to play it.
I didn't know that.
Oh, it's really.
You spent $80 on a game that just sits there. It's just,
if you were to look at the box,
I'm okay.
It's larger than, I don't know. It's larger than ticket. It's like 3 Ticket to Rides stacked on top of each other. Anyways, so I read it and I'm not sure how to feel because I didn't expect it to tie in, but at the same time I was hoping it would. But at the same time, it's like I didn't want it to, and it's like it's mixed feelings. It looked beautiful, felt beautiful, but I felt like I was reading something that didn't matter in the end.
very interesting.
Yeah, because like, well, if you know Dark Souls, it's all cycles. It's like rebirth. It's honestly rebirth over and over. Like the new cycle of life happens. These new kings come into play, and that's the whole premise of the game. But like the comic is just one small step in that whole like millennia of years. Like so many years of time goes by, and that's one, like, I don't know, one half day of work that happens, and it just doesn't seem as meaningful to me. But like, I didn't know what to expect.
Well, that kind of attests to the whole concept that not everything you read is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have great comics, you have some not so great comics.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and like it's not that it was terrible, because it wasn't. It was awesome, but like it wasn't what I expect. Like, well, honestly, like after reading Flashpoint and Kraven's Last Hunt and Infinity Gauntlet, it's like, what? like this
also
is
true, but at the same time, it's like you can't compare apples to oranges either.
Oh yeah,
like
I think that's what it taught me. Like, oh, I'm not going to think that way. Like, where we have to, every comic has to do this to me. Like, it's all special in its own way.
Exactly. Now there you go, Johnny boy. So you took the dive into comics. Would you suggest other folks to do the same?
Yes, I would highly suggest it. If you have a favorite hero and you want to learn more about them, or if you just want to see them put in weird situations that you never knew existed, go for it. You know, like I'm all about, like, I want to know more about Black Panther. I want to know more about, I don't know, everyone else.
Doctor Strange. I know Doctor Strange is your guy too.
Yeah, I want to know Doctor Strange. I want to know more about this grifter person. I want to know about Deathstroke. Like, there's just so many characters. Doctor Doom. I love Doctor Doom. I want to read the rest of the Dark Souls series. Just, honestly, I do. Like,
I want to play that board game.
I want to know more. Like, and it's just beautiful that people dedicate themselves to making these stories that aren't just like, there's not just like artistically, like physical art, but it's like they create these stories that are like really fun to read and watch unfold before you.
No, that's super cool, man. And I'm really glad you took the dive. And I really encourage other readers or other folks, other listeners to do the same, because it's not an easy thing. Like, it really isn't.
And reading them is super easy. Like, it's not like difficult, but it feels good.
Yeah. I'd say finding a starting point isn't easy, but once you find a start point, it just It's literally all downhill
Like
from there.
it's over like in a flash, basically.
God, I thought we were free of this. Damn it. God. Oh man. So I'd say that wraps this episode up, Johnny boy.
Yeah, it does.
What did you say?
It does. I'm happy.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you folks for stopping by. We encourage you folks to take a listen. Thank you guys for us checking out our channel, and make sure you guys subscribe and like us on YouTube as well as our Facebook page.
Share it, please.
Yeah, man. And give us any suggestions, or if you guys want to pick up any comics, feel free to shoot any comments out to us, and we'd be happy to give you guys suggestions.
Reading suggestions to us for us too would be awesome. I'd love to read something that people suggest to us.
Awesome. Well, we're your awesome hosts.
I am the amazing John.
And I'm the amazing Juan. And we are Nerd Sandwich. New 52 stuff.
Yeah.
I heard The Flash, like New 52, is really good. I actually don't know who that's by. Let's check that out quick. Let's type in New 52.
Yeah. I just when there's time involved, I feel like it can go one of two ways, like either terribly or pretty great, like awesome. I thought this did well. Even though I don't know what the original Flash universe is like, I thought it was a great take on it.
Yeah, man. And you could keep reading. Let me see. The New 52, The Flash by Francis Manapul and Brian, Buccellato. Something. Brian B. Just call him Brian B. Yeah, man. That'd be an excellent launch point for you. So overall, did you like your comics that you picked up this week?
I loved Flashpoint. Like, it was amazing. Like, it blew my mind away. Just seeing like these parallels, like Batman, Batman is still existent, but he's not in the same way. How Jordan is still around. Superman was present. I don't know if that was in the animated movie. Was he in there, Superman, at all in any capacity? If you remember.
Yeah, wasn't he like shriveled up or something?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
He was, so like his
so he didn't land in.
He landed in Metropolis.
That's what it was. He didn't land in Kansas.
Yeah, he landed in Metropolis, and the government found him immediately and put him underground.
And they locked him away,
and
away from the sun.
He never interacted with any person in the world that whole time.
So he never became Clark Kent. He was still Kal-El.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember that from the DC movie.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty neat.
That's pretty cool.
And then and I just feel like it opened up so many storylines because Flash was like, we need to save him. That man could help us. Then they save him and he flies away. He just flies away, like just goes. And they're like, Batman's like, we went all the way here for this. and then he's like, I guess funny. So. Like, I'm sorry. I know Superman's a great man. Like, he'll save us. He cannot be changed by time. Like, he will always be a universally amazing person. We never find out. He does come back and help. Like, he just lands and helps, but we don't see much of that.
Man.
Because then he goes back. He figures out how to fix this whole thing.
It's a dark and twisted universe there.
Yeah. I thought it was intense. I couldn't get past just like, I don't know, the role of Batman was great because like I feel like that was a theme in this.
Thomas Wayne Batman's awesome.
Yeah, he's talking about how like my life wouldn't have been changed until I met that man, the Flash. Like the Flash changed who I am. So I don't know if his arc continues in the New 52. I'm guessing it does. I don't know. I don't know what the New 52 necessarily consists of. Is it Thomas Wayne or is it Bruce Wayne?
It's still Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Like really, any title you read that says New 52 on it, that takes place directly after Flashpoint.
Okay, so then that universe that he left, it doesn't continue necessarily.
Correct. He basically goes back. He comes back to Earth.
See,
he comes back to the.
I think that's pretty neat because that's unexplored territory. Like where if someone truly wanted to make a Thomas Wayne arc, where he's like trying to like figure out like how to get to where it's Flash is, like so he can see his son. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. But he's not technologically advanced, so like I feel like he wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah,
like he'd be like, I want to do it, but I don't.
Read
all
the
these
button,
dang
man.
kids,
Read
all
the
these
button.
dang kids with their technologies.
Read the button.
All right,
the button's awesome.
I'll check it out.
Sweet.
But yeah, that was I thought it was amazing, and it was just.
Where do we go from here now? Where do we go?
Gosh.
Do you keep reading? Do you stop? What do you do?
I'm gonna keep going.
There you go.
I'm gonna keep going. But like so you opened this world up for me for comics, and I've read some mostly great things. There's only I decided to buy the Dark Souls comic.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to get one DC, one Marvel, and I got I bought World War Hulk, which I have not read yet. Flashpoint and the Dark Souls one, so I wanted to get something of a little of everything.
Sure.
Dark Souls, for those of you out there, I love Dark Souls. Absolutely, that's the art. I've watched the YouTube channels about the arcs, not the arcs, sorry, the timeline and what the story may be, because Dark Souls isn't a straightforward story. It's all written in texts in item descriptions. Well, the only way you can tell what's happening is if you read those. So I love Dark Souls in every capacity. The first one, second one, third one, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Kingsfield, so many series that it just fits into it. But
I actually didn't know Bloodborne was part of Dark Souls.
Yeah,
well,
it's not part of Dark Souls, but it's the same creators. Similar gameplay, similar storytelling as well. Amazing game. I have the board game. I have the Dark Souls board game. It cost me $80 to get that board game.
No thanks. I'm okay.
It's frustrating as heck. Like, it's an amazing series. But I got the comic thinking like, oh, and I knew that I wasn't expecting anything necessarily. But it doesn't live up to how I feel about Dark Souls. But I don't think it's possible to do that.
So what you're saying is the comic was disappointing?
In a way. But to me, it's because the game itself doesn't have dialogue. And how do you make a comic without dialogue whatsoever? None. It's just just panels of awesomeness. I don't know. I don't know how tangible that is to tell a story without dialogue.
It sounds pretty hard to do, and I guess that kind of reinforces the idea that not everything you read is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
there are going to be great comics, and they're going to be not so great comics. Yeah. It's kind of hard to kind of be like, oh, that was a bad comic. Oh, that was a crappy comic. And it's hard to say stuff like that because at the end of the day, a comic is a form of art. It's a form of interactive, like a tangible connection between a writer and an illustrator to a reader and a seer, that much to say. So, I mean, it's kind of like there is no bad art. Essentially.
Yeah, and it wasn't bad looking whatsoever. I guess it's if I read that standalone, I think maybe it was cool. It connected to the game a little bit, very loosely, but not really, because I feel like people would be upset if it actually connected. But I mean, I might have been. So maybe I was just setting myself up for failure in the beginning. It wasn't something that not that it shouldn't exist, but I should go into it knowing that it doesn't connect to it in any direct way. Because if it were to, it would just change. It would make it something you have to read before you play the game. Yeah, and no one likes that. I feel like Destiny. Actually, you started playing Destiny. Oh yeah,
I just now jumped on the bandwagon of an Xbox One.
People get upset when there's things that you have to do outside of the game. Because it just takes up extra time and it's more effort. They don't want you to just pay the game and buy it. You have to also purchase this and this, and it's I can't actually enjoy it without doing this. So the comic in general, Dark Souls, I'll give it it wasn't bad. It wasn't my favorite. Flashpoint was really good, even though I've only read 3 comics in my life.
Hey man, I started where you were.
Yeah,
I started where you were. So those are your comics there. Just to briefly go over mine, I had just acquired. What did I get? I already forgot what I got. Oh, I got Uncanny X-Force by Rick Remender, Volume 1, which collects number 1 through 19. And that is probably one of my top favorite X-Force runs ever. Super, super cool. So I really suggest people to read it out there. It's pretty much, I don't know. It's a phenomenal run. So Rick Remender is a phenomenal writer. So I really enjoyed that. And what else did I get? I finally got my copy of the Infinity Gauntlet because I hadn't owned a copy of the Infinity Gauntlet. I know, right?
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah. Those were my pickups lately. So
sweet.
I'm going to dig into those.
I got World War Hulk today, and I got some other great stuff the other day too, or today actually. So
we'll discuss that on the next episode then.
Yeah.
Right? Cool, man. Yeah, man. And once again, this episode is brought to you by Wondercomics. Get your comics, t-shirts, collectible figures, and much, much more at Yucaipa Boulevard in Yucaipa, California. Wondercomics. Make sure you guys stop by and pick up your stuff there. So thanks, you guys. Thank you for joining Nerd Sandwich, and thank you for joining me. I'm Juan.
I'm an amazing John.
And we are Nerd Sandwich.
Bye.